6 dark psychology tricks that always work. Psychology facts, modern Stoic. Welcome to Blessing of Stoicism. Today, we're stepping into the shadowed edges of human psychology, where silence isn't weakness, but strategy, where power isn't shown, but felt, and where domination isn't brute force, but psychological mastery. In this video, we reveal 5 dark psychology tricks that always work, tactics rooted in silence, dominance, and the art of control, all through the lens of modern Stoic wisdom. These aren't cheap mind games, they are ancient tools of influence used by emperors, war generals, and even the quietest man in the room who commands everything without saying a word. The best revenge is massive success. Frank Sinatra. Stick around until the end, because once you understand these 5 principles, you'll never be manipulated again. And if you choose to use them, you'll become the man no one dares underestimate. The first trick is social proof. Let's start with a real-life example from 2016 that perfectly illustrates the power of social proof. I went into a store with my mind set on buying a specific smartphone that I had already researched and decided on. However, when I got there, the phone I wanted was unavailable. The salesman, sensing my hesitation, showed me another phone and confidently told me, "This is the best phone available at the time. It's a bit outdated, but if you add a little more money, you can get this one instead." He even pulled the same phone out of his pocket, saying he used it himself. Without realizing it, I was suddenly convinced this was the phone for me. The mere act of him using it made the product feel more valuable, and I ended up buying it, even though it wasn't the best option available. This is the essence of social proof, and it's a trick often used in both everyday life and marketing. We're more likely to like something when we see others, especially experts or influential people, endorsing it. It works like magic when people we respect are using or recommending a product or idea. A popular example is when a celebrity promotes a brand of jeans, and suddenly everyone wants to wear them, not because they are inherently better, but because the celebrity's endorsement creates a sense of value and desirability. Marketing agencies take this even further by creating a fake social proof bubble. Ever watched glowing movie reviews and then felt compelled to see a film, only to find out it wasn't as great as it was made out to be? That's social proof at play. The same trick works with social media, where we observe what our friends, influencers, or celebrities are doing and feel a need to follow suit to fit in or gain approval. In Robert Cialdini's Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion, he highlights how we often look to others for guidance when we feel uncertain, especially in ambiguous situations. For instance, before meeting someone new, we might already have an image in our minds of what they'll be like, based on what we've heard from friends or seen on social media. It's a mental shortcut we all take. Even simple actions, like praising ourselves in front of friends to impress someone we like, are an example of using social proof to create a favourable impression. So, what does this mean for you? Understanding social proof gives you the power to influence situations and decisions around you, while also making you more aware of when it's being used to influence you. Whether you're trying to impress a potential partner or make a business decision, knowing how social proof works can help you navigate relationships and purchases with more insight and control. Let me ask you, have you ever found yourself swayed by something just because others were using or praising it? Maybe you've fallen for it in a marketing campaign or social setting. How can you use this knowledge to your advantage or protect yourself from being manipulated in the future? Share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear your experiences. The second trick is the illusion of choice. Manipulation is an art, and one of the most powerful techniques manipulators use is the illusion of choice. It's the deceptive tactic of offering limited options that all lead to the same desired outcome. It's a psychological game, where the target is made to feel in control, while, in reality, they are being guided toward a predetermined conclusion. You've seen it before. A manager might say, "Would you prefer staying late today or coming in early tomorrow?" In that moment, you believe you're making a choice, but the reality is either option benefits the manipulator. This trick is subtle, yet deadly, and it's everywhere, from business negotiations to sales, and even in the dynamics of parenting. Manipulators thrive on making you feel empowered while pulling the strings behind the scenes. Think about it. Have you ever been in a situation where you had what you thought was a choice, but after you acted, you realized that no matter what you chose, the outcome was always in the hands of the one who set the options? That's the power of illusion. Now, let's get real. The truth is, manipulators are not interested in your true desires. They want control. This trick isn't just about controlling the decision. It's about controlling the person, making them believe they hold the power, when in fact, they're only playing into the manipulator's hand. This false sense of freedom can appear in many areas of life. Salesmen know it well. They'll present you with choices that seem like a win, but are cleverly designed to lead you to their preferred outcome. Take a moment and think, has a car salesman ever asked, "Do you want the red one or the blue one?" You're drawn into thinking you have power, but both choices come with a price tag that's already decided for you. You never had a choice at all. This tactic plays deeply into human psychology. It taps into the need for autonomy and control. It triggers that primal desire to feel independent, to make decisions that reflect our will. And that's what makes this illusion so powerful. You think you're in charge, but the reality is that you've been steered from the beginning. Manipulators will create these choices, knowing that no matter what you choose, you'll eventually arrive at the conclusion they wanted from the start. The success of this trick lies in its subtlety. It doesn't come off as coercion or force, it comes off as a gift. But it's a gift wrapped in deception. You can't see the strings being pulled. They look invisible, but the manipulation is real, and the impact is profound. In Stoic philosophy, there's a powerful lesson about how we should face control and freedom in our lives. True freedom isn't found in the illusion of choice. It's found in mastering our reactions, our impulses, and our internal world. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In this context, it's about recognizing that true autonomy comes from within. It's about understanding the game of illusion that others play and not being swayed by it. If you are aware of the illusion, you break free from it. You see through the smoke and mirrors. Now, let's apply this lesson to your life. Whether in the boardroom, at home, or in your personal relationships, recognizing this manipulation allows you to reclaim control. The next time someone presents you with a choice that feels too easy, too convenient, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, who benefits from this decision? Is it me or is it them? This simple step of questioning can free you from falling victim to someone else's game. When you take a step back, you'll see that not all choices are truly yours to make. Manipulation by illusion doesn't just occur in high-stakes negotiations. It's present in daily life. Salespeople, marketers, and even your loved ones may use it to manipulate decisions. They create options that sound like empowerment, but in reality, they're guiding you toward a result that serves their interests, not yours. By becoming aware of this tactic, you take back your power. Recognize when you're being manipulated with false choices, and take steps to make decisions based on your true desires, not what someone else wants from you. The next time you face a choice that feels like it's being handed to you on a silver platter, remember, the illusion of choice is one of the most powerful tools in manipulation. When you begin to see the world through this lens, you'll start to notice just how often it's used to control people, especially in business and personal dynamics. You can't always change the game, but you can always change how you play it. So let me leave you with this challenge. The next time someone presents you with a decision, take a moment to reflect and ask, what do I really want? Who stands to gain from this? By doing so, you take the first step toward true freedom, one that's rooted not in false choices, but in empowered decision-making. If this message resonated with you, comment below with, "I take control of my decisions," and share your experience with the illusion of choice. Let's start a conversation about how we can break free from manipulation and take charge of our lives today. The third trick is going slightly wrong. Dark psychology is a powerful tool, and the fifth trick you need to master is the subtle art of going slightly wrong. This psychological manipulation strategy is one that top manipulators have perfected because it flies under the radar, going unnoticed but always yielding results. The trick is simple, yet incredibly effective. By intentionally providing a bit of incorrect information with full confidence, you spark the target's need to correct you. In turn, they reveal more than you intended to know. This tactic is brilliantly simple. Take the example of a neighbour's aunt who, out of curiosity, uses this technique to extract information about her neighbour's child's exam results. She casually asks about the child's performance, perhaps mentioning, "I heard David topped the class," which, in reality, may not be true. But the neighbour, eager to correct this misinformation, might reveal more than just the truth, like details about David's performance compared to last time. This seemingly innocent inquiry leads to a deeper dive, and the aunt gathers not only the correct answer, but also additional insights that weren't meant to be shared. The beauty of this strategy lies in its subtlety. It's about creating a safe space for the target to engage, correcting you without realizing the exchange is one-sided. When done properly, this manipulation trick feels natural and easy, giving you the information you seek without confrontation. But there's a catch. You must be cautious. This technique only works if the other party doesn't recognize it as a manipulation tactic. If they've seen this video, your plan might backfire. So how do you execute this successfully? Start the conversation by asking innocent, seemingly harmless questions that don't raise suspicion. A slight misstep in your information prompts them to correct you, leading them to provide you with more valuable details. Manipulation, when applied with finesse, can unlock hidden truths, but it's essential to approach it with awareness and confidence. The more naturally you incorporate these psychological tricks into your interactions, the more power you'll hold over the conversation. And remember, confidence is key. Manipulators use these tactics because they know people are driven to correct information that doesn't sit right with them. As you master this trick, keep in mind that it is not just about extracting information, it's about controlling the flow of conversation and steering it in your favor. This isn't just some mind game. It's a skill set that, when applied ethically, can be used for both personal and professional gain. In fact, a famous quote by Sun Tzu comes to mind: "All warfare is based on deception." In your case, you're not waging war, but you're navigating the battlefield of social interactions with the precision of a strategist. Use this power wisely. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever used a form of psychological manipulation in your daily life, even unintentionally? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. And if you found this strategy intriguing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more insights into dark psychology and its practical applications in your life. This technique isn't just a psychological hack, it's a step towards mastering human behavior. Whether you're negotiating, socializing, or simply navigating the complexities of daily interactions, understanding how to manipulate the flow of conversation can give you a significant edge. So the next time you're in a discussion, remember, going slightly wrong could just be the key to unlocking the deeper layers of truth. The fourth trick is playing the victim. Playing the victim is one of the oldest, yet most dangerous dark psychology tricks in the manipulator's arsenal. And if you're a man navigating life between the ages of 35 and 70, you've likely encountered it without even realizing it. It's the subtle art of turning weakness into power, sorrow into a sword, and guilt into a leash. A person who plays the victim doesn't need to raise their voice, threaten, or dominate through force. They simply reshape the story so that they are always the one who's been wronged, mistreated, or misunderstood. And in doing so, they gain the most powerful weapon of all, your emotional sympathy. In modern Stoicism, where calm, control, and emotional mastery are core virtues, recognizing this tactic is essential because it directly targets your sense of justice and compassion. The manipulator who plays the victim will tell stories, sometimes exaggerated, sometimes entirely fabricated, about how others have let them down, betrayed them, or abused their trust. And if you're not careful, your instinct to protect or defend them becomes the very chain they use to keep you close. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." But here's the problem. The victim player doesn't seek truth. They seek control. They don't want correction. They want compliance. You see, in emotionally charged environments, especially within relationships, family matters, or even at work, the man who appears strong, rational, or emotionally detached can be portrayed as cold or cruel when faced with someone playing the victim. And this is where the trap is laid. When someone cries not from real pain, but for strategic influence, it activates a psychological response rooted in empathy. You begin to feel guilt, shame, or even a sense of duty to fix what they claim is broken, even if it never was. This method is effective because it clouds your judgment, making it harder to see the manipulation through the emotional fog. It's especially potent in romantic or family dynamics, where love, loyalty, and guilt become deeply entangled. The moment you try to step back, assert boundaries, or express skepticism, you're met with accusations of heartlessness, abandonment, or being unfair, none of which are based on reality, but all of which are designed to keep you hooked. To recognize and defend against this manipulation, you must first be brutally honest with yourself about the nature of the emotional exchanges you're involved in. Ask yourself, is this person always the one being wronged, no matter the situation? Do I constantly feel like I'm walking on eggshells around their emotions? Do I feel obligated rather than inspired to be there for them? These are not random emotions. They are signs of psychological conditioning. It's the same as placing a frog in water and slowly turning up the heat. You won't notice the manipulation until it's boiling. But the modern Stoic man is not a boiling frog. He is the observer of patterns, not a prisoner of reactions. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That includes recognizing when someone is manufacturing their own misfortunes to gain control over your time, energy, or decisions. And this tactic doesn't just show up in romantic relationships. It exists in workplaces where colleagues avoid accountability by blaming invisible enemies or systemic unfairness. In friendships where one person always seems to be a magnet for drama and crisis, or in families where the same relative guilt trips others for not doing enough, despite always portraying themselves as the one who sacrificed everything. But here's the truth every Stoic man must remember. Real victims don't weaponize their pain. They seek healing, not control. They want understanding, not dominance. When you notice a person using their wounds as a way to silence your logic, manipulate your actions, or guilt you into submission, you are no longer dealing with pain. You are dealing with strategy. So what do you do when you recognize this? You maintain your calm, detach from the emotional bait, and reassert your frame. Do not argue emotionally, state facts. Do not try to rescue, offer reasonable support, then pull back. Do not internalize guilt that is not yours. Remind yourself, their story is not my burden unless I choose to carry it. This is the Stoic path: clear vision, steady heart, and unshakable presence. Remember the words of Seneca, "He who is brave is free," and freedom begins with recognizing the chains disguised as compassion. If you've ever been in a situation where someone used their sadness to control you, ask yourself today, was it real pain or real manipulation? Comment below with your thoughts, because this discussion is one every man must have to step into his power and out of silent emotional domination. The fifth trick is the Scarcity Principle. The Scarcity Principle is not just a trick, it is a weapon forged in the deepest chambers of human psychology. It preys on one of our most primal fears, the fear of missing out. From ancient times to modern marketing campaigns, This principle has been used to control the choices of men without them even realizing it. When something is made to seem rare, our brain assigns it more value, even if, in truth, it holds little worth. That's the trap, and manipulators know it well. A salesperson doesn't need to shout or push. All they need to say is, "This is the last one," and your mind starts racing. You begin to imagine someone else having what you might lose. Your logic is hijacked by the illusion of scarcity, and suddenly you're not buying the product, you're avoiding the pain of regret. This isn't commerce, it's psychological warfare, but it doesn't stop in the marketplace. In relationships, the same manipulation appears in more seductive forms. A woman becomes distant, less available, harder to reach. And what happens? The average man starts to chase. He mistakes her distance for value. He thinks her silence is a sign of depth. But a Stoic man, a modern Stoic, knows better. He sees through the game. He knows that rarity does not equal worth. He knows that something hard to get is not always something worth getting. And he never gives his power to illusion. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, wrote Seneca, and this is exactly how scarcity plays its trick, not with truth, but with perception. It is an illusion, crafted to bypass your reason and ignite your desperation. And the world is full of these illusions: flash sales, members-only offers, countdown timers, limited edition everything. These aren't opportunities. They're pressure tactics designed to make you act without thinking. But the man who thinks is the man who wins. The man who pauses and asks, "Is this valuable or just rare?" He cannot be tricked. He becomes unshakable. In a world where everyone is chasing what they're told is rare, true power belongs to the man who walks away. Because when you stop chasing what is falsely made scarce, you become the rare one. You become the one who holds value, not because you're hard to get, but because you are hard to influence. As Bruce Lee once said, "The successful warrior is the average man with laser-like focus. Focused men do not panic. Focused men do not beg. Focused men observe. They read between the lines. They do not respond to urgency with fear, but with calm. Because urgency is the mask manipulation wears. And if you give in to it, you give away your agency. You become a puppet, pulled by strings you cannot even see. That's not power, that's slavery dressed as desire. And the truth is, most people don't want what they need. They want what they're told they can't have. But ask yourself, when was the last time something truly valuable had to scream for your attention? Wisdom doesn't shout. Real value doesn't beg to be noticed. And true connection, whether in love, business, or life, never plays games to get your attention. So I ask you now, not just as a viewer, but as a man, when you feel that pressure rising inside you, when someone tries to make you feel that you'll lose something if you don't act fast, will you react? Or will you respond? Will you follow the crowd, or will you lead yourself? Remember this: the one who is calm when others panic, the one who thinks when others act, the one who steps back when others rush forward, he is the man who wins the game without even playing it. That is the essence of Stoic power. That is total domination, not over others, but over yourself. And once you master that, no trick can touch you. You become the storm, not the leaf caught in it. Now tell me in the comments, have you ever been caught in this illusion of scarcity? Did it cost you time, money, or dignity? And most importantly, how did you rise above it? The sixth trick is triangulation. Triangulation is not just a dark psychology trick, it's a silent psychological weapon that has shattered relationships, weakened confident men, and created unseen wars within the minds of those who never even realized they were being played. It is the art of comparison as manipulation, the subtle insertion of a third person, real or imagined, into the dynamic between two people in order to destabilize, dominate, and silently control. The manipulator doesn't raise their voice or threaten you directly. No, they strike your emotions by saying something deceptively simple like, "My ex never had a problem with this," or "You should see how John handled it. He nailed it without complaining." At that moment, without even realizing it, you've been invited into a contest you never agreed to. You begin to question yourself. You start adjusting your behavior. You feel the need to prove your worth, not because you lack it, but because someone else's name has been placed on the pedestal where your integrity used to stand. That's the power of triangulation. It shifts your focus from your values to their bait, and by doing so, they control you without ever touching you. In love, this tactic is used to breed jealousy, insecurity, and desperation. A woman might mention how an old flame used to understand her better, or how another man gave her more attention. Suddenly, you're not just being a partner, you're being measured, ranked, and judged. In toxic workplaces, triangulation shows up when a leader praises one team member excessively in front of others, not to uplift, but to instill silent competition and chaos. It's disguised as motivation, but the true goal is psychological control. And if you've ever felt the burning urge to match someone else's standard just because it was dangled in front of you, then you've already been caught in the web of triangulation. The philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The modern Stoic lives by this law, not because he's cold or detached, but because he understands that every emotional hook is an attempt to drag him off center. He doesn't chase ghosts. He doesn't fight shadows. He sees the tactic, names it silently, and remains unmoved. That is power. To master this, you must learn to recognize the why behind the manipulation. Ask yourself, what do they gain by comparing me? What weakness are they trying to exploit? And most importantly, why am I reacting? Because your reaction is the real currency they want. A high-value man doesn't need to outperform another. He is the standard. He doesn't shrink when someone else's name is mentioned. He grows silent, observant, and stronger. He knows that responding to triangulation is like stepping onto a battlefield where the enemy has already positioned every trap. The best move is no move. Detach, observe, and refuse to play. Let's not mistake this awareness for paranoia. This isn't about distrusting everyone. It's about protecting your frame. In a world where silent games are being played in conversations, meetings, and even moments of intimacy, your emotional clarity becomes your shield. People will test you. Women will test you. Life will test you. But the man who has cultivated stillness, who doesn't flinch when provoked, is the man who dominates without ever raising his voice. As Robert Greene said in The 48 Laws of Power, when you show that you can remain calm under the most challenging circumstances, you project power. Triangulation only works when you allow yourself to be thrown off balance. So stand your ground. Let them play their game while you live by your code. These were some dark psychology tricks that you can easily use, and knowing them can save you from becoming a victim of these tricks. In addition to the discussed techniques, the realm of dark psychology is vast and intriguing, delving into various methods that shape human behavior and decision-making, from subtle manipulations in everyday conversations to sophisticated psychological maneuvers. Understanding these strategies can provide a unique insight into human interactions. Furthermore, exploring gaslighting, mind games, emotional manipulation, and other psychological tactics opens up a world of knowledge on how individuals navigate through social dynamics. By recognizing these techniques, one not only safeguards oneself from falling prey to manipulative behaviors, but also gains a deeper understanding of human psychology and communication. If you found this video insightful and engaging, feel free to like, comment, and share your thoughts. Let me know if you'd like to delve deeper into specific aspects of dark psychology or explore other intriguing psychological topics. Don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating and informative content from the psychology classes. See you in the next video. What she thinks day by day after you disappear. Modern Stoic. Sometimes, the hardest part isn't letting go, but learning to start over in silence. Zrenia, when you step back from her life, not out of anger or manipulation, but from a place of calm self-respect, something powerful happens. The absence you create becomes impossible to ignore. The things she once took for granted now echo in her thoughts, louder than before. The beauty of this process is that a woman doesn't always react right away. But as the days pass, her mind works in ways she may not even fully understand, and with each passing moment, she begins to question more than she ever did before. Day 1. She convinces herself this is temporary. It's just a phase. He'll come back. Day 2. Doubt creeps in. Is he trying to tell me something with this silence? Day 3. The silence becomes more personal. Did I mean as much to him as I thought I did? From here, the questions multiply, not because of a dramatic scene or a harsh confrontation, but because you remained composed. You didn't react. You simply withdrew from a situation that no longer honored you. This isn't about playing games. It's about choosing peace over emotional turmoil, clarity over confusion. You remain like a true Stoic, calm, grounded, detached from outcomes that are beyond your control. You didn't chase her, nor did you flee. You simply stopped engaging where your presence was not valued. And this, my friend, is what lingers in her mind. It's this steady, unshakable presence that rewrites the narrative in her heart. In today's discussion, we'll explore the emotional stages she goes through after your silence sets in, day by day. From the initial disbelief to the long, quiet nights when your absence becomes more impactful than your presence ever was. This isn't just about emotional psychology. This is Stoic wisdom at play. You don't need to argue your worth. You don't need to explain yourself. You simply walk away and let time, silence, and truth do the work for you. Let's dive into this powerful journey. Number 1. The Vanishing Act. When you disappear, it's not out of spite or to play games. You're not leaving to punish her, but rather to realign with your own center. At first, she's caught off guard. Your absence is a surprise, a pause she didn't expect. And the silence you leave behind starts to feel unfamiliar. She checks your messages, wondering if she missed something, but there's nothing. Just stillness. What was once predictable, daily conversations, texts, and calls, fades into an echo. And with each passing day, the absence grows louder. At first, she might rationalize it, thinking maybe you're just busy or playing hard to get. But as the days stretch on, doubt creeps in. Where is he? Why hasn't he reached out? She can't quite grasp why the same man who always showed up for her, every text, every word, is now nowhere to be found. But she doesn't yet understand that your silence isn't weakness, it's power. As Epictetus wisely said, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. A Stoic man listens to the silence. He retreats not to punish, but to find clarity and peace. He doesn't seek validation in emotional turbulence. He doesn't respond to every lure or emotional bait. He observes, reflects, and if necessary, steps away, not for revenge, but for his own well-being. In this silence, he remains unmoved. The calmness, the absence of response, speaks louder than any words ever could. By day 4, she begins to feel the space you left behind. It's in the little things, the memes you used to share, the good luck texts in the morning, the unexpected support when her day wasn't going well. These small rituals that once felt constant now feel deeply missed. She might test the waters, post a story, send a subtle flirtation, hoping for a reaction. But nothing. Because a Stoic man, a disciplined man, doesn't chase after breadcrumbs or give in to emotional fishing. He knows that attention is not a right, it's a gift earned through effort. And your stillness, your unwavering calm, turns her curiosity into vulnerability. Now she's not just missing you. She's questioning herself. Why hasn't he folded, she wonders. She expected you to break, to need her, to give in to the pressure. But your silence isn't a weakness, it's a reflection of your wholeness. As Marcus Aurelius said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. You didn't disappear out of malice, you disappeared out of mastery. By the end of the week, she realizes the truth. You didn't ghost her. You transcended the noise. You didn't need to win her back. You needed to win yourself back. That realization hits harder than any argument or dramatic exit ever could. She didn't lose a man who needed her. She lost a man who chose himself. And that, brothers, shakes her more than anything else. The lesson here is clear. Emotional discipline speaks louder than any words or actions ever could. So, brothers, have you ever walked away quietly and watched what unfolded? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let your silence speak to your strength. Number 2. Echoes of you. When you disappear, it's like a shift in the atmosphere. Quiet at first, but unmistakable. The void you leave behind isn't loud, yet its presence is felt deeply. She begins to notice the silence, because it's not just any quiet. It's the kind of stillness that lingers, the kind that makes everything else feel insignificant. The absence of your voice, once familiar, is now a haunting echo in her life. Your laughter, not demanding attention, but providing calm, was a steady presence she took for granted. You never needed to dominate the space. Your strength lay in your calm, your quiet confidence, and the stability you brought without saying a word. You were like a calm lake, unruffled, deep and reflecting. Now, as she stands at the edge of that silence, longing for the peace you gave, she realizes just how rare it was. The Stoic man doesn't boast about his value. He simply lives it. He doesn't chase attention or demand affection. His peace is a gift, and he leaves when it's no longer appreciated, not from spite, but from a place of self-respect. At first, she might have thought your silence was a game, perhaps a test. But with time, the weight of your absence grows. It's not aggressive or manipulative, but undeniable. Your silence speaks louder than any words ever could. She scrolls through her feed, and your face is nowhere to be found. Her stories go without your reaction, and your inbox remains empty. That's when she begins to reflect. She starts comparing. Other voices, other moments, none of them feel like yours. You weren't just there, you were intentional. You listened, gave without keeping score, and led without trying to control. And now, without you, she realizes you were rare, and rare is always remembered. A man who seeks validation is easily forgotten, but a man who quietly walks away, carrying strength in his stillness, that man stays with her. He stays in the corners of her mind, in moments she wishes she could replay. That's the power of the Stoic way. You didn't disappear out of bitterness. You simply knew your worth. You knew when to stay and when to step away, leaving behind the very silence that she once found comfort in. That silence, now louder in your absence, speaks volumes. So, as you reflect on this, I ask, has your silence ever spoken louder than your presence? Have you ever experienced the power of stepping back instead of chasing? If this resonates with you, take a moment to like this video or share your thoughts in the comments. Maybe even write, "The silent conversation speaks volumes," because sometimes the deepest messages aren't found in words, but in the quiet spaces we leave behind. Number 3. Doubt creeps in. Doubt creeps in, and everything changes. When you vanish from her life, she doesn't notice immediately. She keeps posting, smiling, acting like nothing's wrong. But your silence becomes louder than any argument. Slowly, doubts form in her mind. Did I push him away? Her confident mask cracks, not from anything you said, but because of everything you didn't say. When a man of value disappears, it's not noise that fills the void. It's realization. She starts replaying old messages, searching for the exact moment things changed. But here's the truth. You didn't change. You didn't play games. You simply stopped giving to someone who didn't appreciate it. That wasn't revenge. It was wisdom. The Stoic truth: don't explain, don't chase, don't beg, just withdraw. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." And now you are free, free from the trap of giving without being valued. You didn't demand anything. You withdrew with calm, clarity, and power. That's Stoic detachment. And in your absence, awareness blooms. Time is teaching her, not as punishment, but as growth. Now the silence you once thought was indifference becomes a mirror. She sees all the times you were there, and now it's too late. Your absence speaks louder than any words could. You've become the question she can't stop asking, but the answer isn't yours to give. It's hers to find. A Stoic knows true power is in restraint. You don't seek validation. You are the clarity. Now, without saying a word, she's feeling what you always carried, the effort that went unnoticed. Your absence is the loudest presence she'll ever face. Stand in your silence. Own it. Don't return just because she noticed. Let her grow. This is how strong men lead, with dignity and peace. If this spoke to you, like, comment, and say, "My silence is power." Subscribe if you're ready to rise as the man who doesn't need to explain himself. This isn't revenge. It's reclaiming your throne. Live it for you. Number 4. Attention shifts. She starts posting more often. A fresh selfie here, a cryptic quote there. It's as if she's trying to fill the silence, trying to convince the world, especially you, that she's fine. She's texting her friends non-stop, booking her weekends, staying busy, acting as if nothing's wrong. On the surface, it seems like she's moved on, like you never even crossed her mind. But this is where the wisdom of Stoic philosophy cuts through the illusion. People often hide their deepest wounds behind the loudest noise. Yes, she's busy. She's surrounded by distractions and constant activity, but there's a quiet space inside her that she can't fill. And in that space, your absence echoes, resounding louder than anything she can mask it with. You're not texting her. You're not chasing after her. You're not playing that emotionally exhausting game of validation that so many men fall into. No, you're different. You've anchored yourself in self-respect, and your stillness is far more powerful than any of the noise she surrounds herself with. He who is brave is free, Seneca once said. And this is where your bravery shines, in your restraint. You didn't disappear to play games or to manipulate her. You walked away because you understand your worth doesn't need to be constantly validated. That's what shakes her to the core. She cannot fathom a man who doesn't need constant attention to feel important. Your calm demeanor wasn't just an act. It's a discipline, a lifestyle rooted in meaning, not emotion. You're not cold. You're not indifferent. You simply refuse to engage in the performance of constant drama for someone who failed to see the value of your quiet strength when it was right there for her to hold. She'll check her story views, wondering if you saw that post. She'll post more cryptic quotes, hoping it stirs something in you. But it doesn't, because you've risen above the back and forth drama. You've chosen to live by principles, not impulses. Marcus Aurelius taught us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. In your case, your best revenge, if you even want to call it that, is to not play the emotional game anymore. You've stopped needing the scoreboard. While she distracts herself with the noise of life, she can't escape the question that quietly creeps in during the still moments. Why doesn't he come back? And that silence, the very thing she thought she could escape, becomes a mirror. It forces her to face not just who you were in the past, but who you are now. The man who brought peace, not chaos. The man who offered presence, not pressure. You didn't need to prove anything before, and you don't need to prove anything now. Your absence isn't a punishment. It's self-preservation. It's the conscious choice to seek peace over performance. Men, understand this. Your silence is not weakness. It's wisdom in action. It is a declaration of your value, a message to the world that you've stopped performing and started living on your own terms. Real men don't run from their emotions, they master them. So stay grounded, keep building your peace, because what she's missing isn't just a man, it's a presence that can't be replaced. And that, my brothers, is something no selfie, no quote, no distraction can ever replicate. If you've ever experienced this kind of quiet strength, I want to hear from you. Share your story in the comments below. Or if you're walking in that silence right now, simply type, "My silence speaks for me." Let's show the world what true Stoic power looks like. Number 5. Memory lane becomes a trap. When the quiet of the evening descends, she finds herself drawn into the past, not by choice, but because the silence amplifies your absence. She walks down memory lane, revisiting moments that once brought her joy, but now they are tinged with sadness. That song you sent her, once a soundtrack to your shared moments, now plays with a different rhythm in her heart, a reminder of the connection that's now lost. The inside joke, once a spark of laughter that only the two of you understood, now echoes in her mind like a ghost of warmth long gone. And your voice, so steady, so familiar, the way you used to say her name with care now haunts her thoughts, replaying in her mind with an intensity that she can't escape. These moments that once made her feel cherished now serve as reminders of what she took for granted, what slipped away quietly while she wasn't paying attention. It's in these moments of reflection that memory shifts from being a source of comfort to becoming a snare, a trap of nostalgia. The joy has faded, replaced by a subtle but undeniable sadness. There's no reply to her thoughts anymore, no shared smiles, no presence, only the echo of you. As she replays the scenes from your shared past, you have already stepped off the stage, moving on with your life, a life now shaped by intention rather than by nostalgia. This is where Stoic wisdom becomes key. A Stoic man does not linger on what has passed. He doesn't deny the value of memories, nor pretend they were meaningless. Instead, he honors them for what they were, moments of connection, beauty and significance, and then, with discipline, he lets them go. Not out of resentment or cold detachment, but with the deep understanding that clinging to what's ended prevents growth. Holding on to the past becomes a betrayal of the person he's becoming. He doesn't carry those moments as burdens, he carries them as lessons, not etched in regret, but in wisdom. For her, it's a different story. She's just beginning to realize the true meaning behind the small, seemingly insignificant gestures you made. The way you listened, not out of obligation, but as an act of love. The way you were consistent, offering quiet devotion. The way you noticed things that others overlooked, showing her she mattered. It's only now, in the silence left behind, that she understands the depth of those simple acts. She starts to trace the shift, searching for the moment when the warmth between you turned into distance, trying to find the turning point. But a Stoic man doesn't linger at the edge of past chapters, hoping to be missed. He doesn't wish for her to carry the weight he once bore. He moves forward, not as an escape, but as a conscious choice. Every step he takes is rooted in the lessons he's learned and the values he refuses to compromise. Modern life is full of distractions, tempting us to look back, to revisit what once felt safe. But for a man grounded in Stoic principles, clarity is his guide. The past is not a place to dwell, it's a place to learn. While she is trapped in the nostalgia of what she had but never fully appreciated, you walk with certainty, not out of malice, but out of strength. You don't carry bitterness, you carry balance, because true power lies not in being remembered, but in being transformed by experience. So, with unwavering calm, you continue forward, clear in who you are, clear in what you offer, and absolutely clear in what you deserve. This isn't heartlessness, it's a higher perspective. It's the quiet strength of a man who chooses growth over grief, evolution over emotional entanglement. In the end, while memory lane may trap her, you, unshaken and wiser, walk the road ahead, free and refined by your experiences. All right, my friend. Thanks again for being here with me today. Remember, what we talked about isn't just theory, it's real-life wisdom. When you pull back and go silent, you're not playing a game. You're choosing peace. You're choosing clarity. And that choice? It says more than any words ever could. My honest advice to you is this. Don't chase chaos. Don't try to force someone to understand your worth. Let your silence speak. Let your calm presence do the talking. Because a man who knows his value never has to raise his voice to prove it. Stay grounded, stay strong. And most importantly, Stay true to yourself. Take care, brother. Until next time.